with another.
Do skies have walls? Open single stalls like Philip and Falls. Highlight and flaws, balls, but walk on through. Trust only you. Mentally check crew. Fake from true. Some sue the system when they can't get with them. Split them or hit them. Tactics is a killer, not feeling but pays. Past masters' ways. The casket praised. Fingers turn slaves. Different drugs, same craze. Same path, different maze. Same math, different age. Same craft, different cage. Bondage mentality. Can't release inner energy. Closed eyes can't see. Selves in your galaxy. Fight for street money. Shot hurt nightly. Self-knowledge. Key. Eternal mastery. Our strategy for profits. Got neighborhood hot.
What's up, Jazzy Fizzle?
What's up, bro? Hey, I'm getting my car work done. I'm getting those brakes done. I'm gonna be in the background in the
Tanfo.
Okay, but I'm
about to keep it. You know how I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep it moving.
Okay.
Just come back for the questions and stuff.
Okay.
All right, Facebook. All right. You already know this is another installment of Car Talk. We still on that book right there, The Keys of Enoch, the Book of Knowledge, one of the sacred books of the Bible. I know they only give you 60 or 70 in the Bible, but there's over 243. There's more. The Book of Enoch is one, the Maccabees, Tablets of Sin, the Book of Light, the Emerald Tablets. I could go on and on and on with different ones. The Urenthia book, this is another one. I always say to kill them with scholarship. Urenthia book. All right? This right here, it has the whole story of Jesus, his whole childhood. It breaks the human planet down from the center of the universe and not from being a human. Great book, if you can get it. It's long, 1,200 pages. All right. But scholarship, you got to be willing to read this stuff, understand it, filter it down into you. But we're going to get back to the keys, these keys of Enoch, because they fired. What we talking about today? We talked about the many in the one last time, the many in the one universe. So it's breaking it down. It's opening up your mind on how vast and how many deities and entities that there are in this system and how they all work for the Father. All right? In the Father's universe. And then they have the sons and the Shekinah. We're going to go through that, though. So it's trying to open you up to this whole thing that God is in every essence. So because of that, he has everybody that works for him, all these celestial beings, multiple deities all over the place. But we're going to go into it. It's going to show about the earth and why the earth is the way it is and how the earth can be redeemed. It's going to show how you can be redeemed through your own work. Book of Knowledge, dropping all the signs. We talked about the first three. Now we're going to get there. So before I get into that, we're going to talk about what is the keys of the universe. So there's 3 keys, major keys. Under those 3 keys, you have 12 different fire letters. Each one represents a different key. So at the end, I think you have like 36, maybe even 12, 13, 36, 50, somewhere around. No, 64. You have 64 keys at the end. So 3 in the 34 or 64 gives you so many numbers, but each of them aren't the same. So that's basically what it is. And it's spread out through each of. There you go. Oh, she got a, hold on. We got a, oh. You were on for a second, Miss Visa. So it's just showing you. Okay, so first you have the Father's universe explains how the mansion worlds, all this space, all these different constellations of the Father are connected to divine creators, creating universes through cosmic pyramids of light. What is that saying? Is it showing that they're divine creators? There's a lot of them. This is what we do. There's different stages. Then you have the Son's universe explains how the biological codes of the Christ energy are evolved into the image determined by the Father through the paradise sons and no lesser forces of light. Meaning, once you become a part of the Adamic species, you stay a part of it. If you come down here in it, that means you have the divine light within you. Last one, the keys to the Shekinah or the Spirit's universe explains how the spiritual gifts of the Holy Spirit are given down to the Christ energy race of so spiritual man can work directly with the whole light beings, angelical messengers who prepare the righteous of the earth for the counsels of the light, capital L light, which is established upon the earth at the time of the heavens and new earth. So we're talking biblical, we're talking revelation. Miss Visa.
Hi.
Hey, girl, we about to do it. You ready to get into this?
Yes,
We're going to go right on to the next chapter.
I tried to come in. I kept getting kicked out. It wouldn't let me in.
Oh, I put the way I said, Spirit, let her in.
Okay.
And you was in. And next thing you know, you was in. Jazzy's in the background. He hears us.
Okay,
so we went over it. Father, sons, checking us.
Peace, Miss Visa.
Hey.
Spirit, universe. So next. All right. Was this the no? That's not the one. Okay, so the whole light beings will mark the next stage of quantum transmission man will go through, so that man will not only be able to exchange garments of the consciousness in the reality of this world, but also exchange the garments of consciousness with other planetary worlds. So the vehicles of spiritual man, the overself, the atom, the Buddha, the Zora, all these others can ascend through the Christ energy. So basically what it's saying is there's multiple ways to ascend, multiple ways to leave the body of entropy. We're going to get into centropy. Centropy means the electrification of matter. Entropy is wrapped in centropy. Oh, this is going to be so good. All right. Last but not least, this is key because now we're about to go into what they're talking about in these next 3 chapters. The conversion of light into material form, our world was originally commissioned in the Father's name. What does that mean? That means there are programs going on, think of the Matrix, programs going on that allow worlds in the physical, being a human, so that we can get the best out of being a human when we go ascend back into our Father's universe. So there's programs going on. What is the program? These programs are made from the Father. So when it's commissioned in the Father's name, but they were originally, they were intercepted by fallen masters who applied their law to this creation. Go ahead, Ms. Visa. Oh, no. All right. So in conversion of the material into material form, our world was originally commissioned in the Father's name, or the Father's program, but was intercepted by fallen masters who applied their law of vibration to this creation. The King of Kings, the Lords of Lords, who brought forth this creation out of his greater what? Love. Allowed the Elohims the prerogative of creating creating the thresholds of advanced intelligence for the seed of the Elohim. However, some of the lords of light revolted and thought not only to command the Adamic creation to destruction, but wanted to interfere with future models of the Adamic species created for this planet. What does that say? That says that this planet is a cycling Earth, which always has ups and downs. It's talking about the precession of the equinox, meaning that's why they found metal tool buried in the earth. They say it's 100,000 years old. Why? Because it's a 6,000 year to 12,000 year program. Then it goes to a 25,000. This is the precession of the equinox. Look at the clock. Each clock has what? 1 hour. Each hour, 12 hours. Each number of the clock represents a zodiac sign. Each zodiac sign on the larger scale has 2,146 years in it for every hour. If you go all the way around, it'll come out to be like 26,000 years. That's the precession. That's when we harvest. We're going to talk about that. So I'm just trying to prep you up to let you know we got to open up our mind in the image of what we think we know, because it's not earthly. It's out there. So let's keep going. So now we're going to move on to what we were talking about. So the first thing it shows you, if you can see, it's talking about the pyramids within pyramids. I don't know if you can see it good, but these are all pyramids and reflections of it. And the fire letter, once again, I want to show you this is not me. I'm just reading it from the book and giving you the God's eye, the interpretation. So what does it say? The keys of the living biophysical and astrophysical universe are the living light, capital L, pyramids of life that exist within every structure in every field of creation. All right.
Okay.
So Enoch is telling us that each evolution has a pyramid of light through which the human must pass through on his way to greater creation. What are we talking about? We're talking about these born agains. Not only is it physical, but you can be born again spiritually when you leave this realm. Now there's no more darkness or, oh, I'm going to hell or, oh, I'm going to heaven. No, these are programmed exercises that you're doing right now to figure out where you're going to go in the next realm. That's nothing to do with hell or heaven. It has something to do with your progression. If you move yourself up off this with living light energy in the mind, you put yourself on a better degree or a better science or even a better job, if that's what you want to call it, because we're moving ourselves. So let's keep going. If we go beyond the three-dimensional set of creation, we must go beyond, we must go through our three-dimensional field of energy into a multi-dimensional field of pyramidal light, capital L, energy. Therefore, the pyramid of light is the energized with Uhe eye, which is the conscious eye at the center of the pyramid. This is a cosmological constant. It enables every realm of intelligence to be reprogrammed back into a higher level of creation when it goes through the pyramidal field of the pyramidal energy field of creation. Thus, the pyramid is the eternal programming of Uhe eye, the conscious eye. It is there with you at all times and is working at every level of creation. Miss Visa, please tell me what you just heard.
A lot of I don't knows. I'm serious. I'm being honest.
So let's break it down. No, I'm glad you're honest because this is that deep. Start looking at the pyramid function of light would be the infinite and the eternal part of us that functions on the molecular level through atoms. All right. Okay. Can't be destroyed, right? We're a part of that atom. So think of it as a structure, as a science tool. We use pyramids to move from one galaxy to the next. When you put on your pyramid of light or your Merkaba, that's the spaceship that goes up it. It's a pyramid facing up, a pyramid facing down, where you're caught in the middle of the Star of David, and you have them start rotating in opposite directions. That's called the Merkaba. But let me read it again. So the pyramid of light energizes the consciousness. That's our consciousness, the essence that's in us, that's seeking out other things than what looks good, feels good, tastes good, smells good, sounds good. Mm-hmm. So when you do that, right, it energizes your inner consciousness and the center of the pyramid, which is the cosmological constant that enables every intelligence to be reprogrammed into a higher level of creation. What does that mean? That means that once your third eye, your pineal gland, becomes open, right? Once it opens, that means now you can participate in other realms of experience. So when we dream, we think it may be a dream, but we may actually be in another realm participating, gathering the downloads. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thus the pyramid of the eternal programming of that conscious eye can be at all times and is always working on every level of creation. Remember, I was telling us how knowledge of self is more like knowledge of cells, that we can control the cells in our body.
Yes.
This is what we're getting back to. Everything is conscious. Stop looking at stuff that it just runs automatic on computer. It doesn't. It's a conscious entity behind it. But let me keep going. So if you look at the blood crystals under an electron microscope, you can find the shape of the pyramidal field in the crystal form of the blood. So if you look deep enough, you see the pyramids. That's what they're trying to show you here. In the blood,
okay.
the crystalline.
Okay.
Okay, it might be difficult for you to see the actual pyramids, but it's pyramids within pyramids. All right. Boom. What you are seeing is the Merkaba. This connects the key pyramids so that the capital L light can be used in unfolding the next stage of evolution. So we also got to remember, evolution is a spiritual evolution. All right, that opens up our spirit, and so it won't be as contaminated by the physical form. That's evolution on a spiritual realm. All right, so keep going. The pyramid of light is the central geographic form of all biological and conscious evolution. The pyramid shows that the universal mind is all present. Remember, we said before, all this is what, Miss Visa? Mental.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was right down what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry. All this is mental. All right. So I'm gonna read it again. The pyramid function of light is a central geometric form for all biophysical and conscious evolution. The pyramid shows that the universal mind is all present, not only at every molecule of star ionization, but at every vibration of conscious flow. This is what we tap back into when we get back into ourselves, when we meditate. This is the energy that's there waiting for us. This is how far we have gone. We have fallen.
Oh.
Right. Think about it.
So you say we have fallen. You mean the consciousness and
only in consciousness, not in power. The power is always there once we remember what we have forgotten.
Okay.
But remember, all this was a plan. We were supposed to forget and get back into it. Mr. Grooveology, I'm sorry, brother. What's up, player?
Hey, what's going on? Don't let me stop the flow, man. Like,
oh,
hey.
No, man. I just told him I know you love scholarship. The Uranthea book.
Hold up.
It breaks down the life of Jesus. It breaks down the world as we see it, but not from the earth's perspective, but from the center of the universe. Man, this is great. Huh?
Hey, what's going on, Jazz? Hey.
I said, peace, bro.
Peace,
hey,
man.
I'm getting my brakes. My brakes are done right now, so I'm at the car shop. So that's why I ain't on here.
Great book.
I'm here.
I mean, it's 1,200 pages. I mean, I was reading everything when I tell you I was reading everything, bro. Everything. The spirit had my thirst. That's the only reason I can do what I'm doing now.
I hear you.
Book of knowledge. I mean, the Uranthea book. Fabulous. Open up your perspective to what's out there and not a limited view. But let's keep going. Yep. Miss Visa, did you have something, dear?
No, sir. I'm just trying to take note.
Tenfold. Slow me down if I go too fast. You know, I get excited. The spirit fill me up and I'll be ready.
Okay.
All right. So the ancients saw the pyramid as a gateway to the stars and a form through which star intelligence can come and serve human creation. Once again, man will understand how the geometries of the pyramid fuse space, time, and matter to a form of an ideal focus for star energy transmission. That's deep. I ain't gonna go into it because it's that deep. But what it's basically showing you, it's giving you the science behind the invisible. When you look out there and see the solar system and see the stars, there's a science behind that. And it's showing you what you do. The Brotherhood of Light established pyramids on certain planets in the solar system in relation to Saturn. Saturn being the key planetary table and the density levels of other forms of intelligence operating our solar system. These pyramids of light are built into the grid formations and are connected to the chronometers, which measure the vibratory levels of consciousness on a given planet in units of 10,000 years. So here we go again. These planets have been used and worked over and over and over and over and over. They get to a certain point within the 50,000 year, the 6,000 year, or that turns in 6,000 and some years, some days, turns into 25,000 year cycle that turns into a 50-year cycle. It represents the clock. The first 50-year cycle represents us going from midnight to noon. That's the 25,000 year cycle. If you add up the zodiac signs, 2,140 all the way around times 12, you should get 25,000 something. That's the first day or cycle, but it isn't a full day yet until you go from noon back to midnight. And that's the precession of the equinox. That's the 52,000 year cycle. If you look up precession of the equinox, you'll get all the information you need. But I'm going to keep going. The precession of the equinox. That's exactly what it is. You'll get all the information you need. It'll start breaking down the cycles of the earth, the lunar phase, the sun phase. Within each zodiac, or every 3 zodiacs, you go from a lunar phase to a solar phase, meaning the earth will be a little colder during these phases of the lunar phase, and then the earth will be a little warmer during the phase of the sun. We're going back into the lunar phase, a whole new start over. But let me not speak. Let me read it from the book. All right. The Brotherhood of Light has established pairs on certain parts of the earth in relation with Saturn. The key planetary table and density level of other forms of intelligence operate within our system. Pyramids are built into the grid formations and are connected to the chronometers, which measure the vibratory level of consciousness on a given planet in amounts of every 1,000 years. So all of us are being measured on how conscious we are. Our degree of consciousness directly relates to our ability to love. I'm going to leave it there. Growth can only occur times using using the same planetary sphere to evolve many species for existence in many different worlds. I'm going to say it again. Growth can occur many times using the same planetary sphere, meaning Earth. It can happen over and we can be destroyed. It can happen over and then we can do it again. Another creation come in many times in existence in innumerable worlds. The pyramid grid is information which was established on Mars. That's why you have pyramids on Mars. This whole thing is a spiritual network. Everything. Nothing is disgrunted. Every planet, everything is a spiritual network. The greater pyramids on Mars cover 10 times the area used on the co-creators in establishing the major pyramids at Giza, and 5 times the area of the major pyramids established in China during the previous evolutionary cycle. So it's letting you know every piece of the earth was used for this spiritual transition. When they became part of a larger image, an open-ended image, that's when they got the spiritual downloads. That's why we went over before, the many and the one and the one and the many universe, meaning there's a hierarchy. We're just passing through certain hierarchies. This is the best test on earth so we can jump levels. We can go from a lieutenant to a general. Because we down here on earth, where once you get down here, the timetable changes. Now you get off the earth when you have done everything you said you was going to do, whether it be a year, 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years. But when you're in the infinite and eternal, it doesn't matter anyway. So we got to start thinking like we're in the infinite and eternal. We good?
Oh, yeah.
So you got a question there? Okay. When you said the earth was created many times, different creators, right? So if there's different variations of Christ, of Jesus, could that apply to all those different eras or those different times?
Well, you got to remember, it's the Christ energy. The energy can be used in many different ways.
But
okay.
like from each time, like say from the time of the Sumerians, or the time for the, like each of them had some type of Christ energy or creators of that time. So go ahead.
No, so what you're saying is you are correct. They're saying that growth can occur many times using the same planetary sphere, meaning Earth, like ours, to evolve many species for existence in innumerable worlds. Meaning that was a time. That time could have been 50,000 years long. We don't know, but it could have been that long. You see what I'm saying? The Egyptian period, the period of the Roman, all these periods are just times when things started to be okay. Now it's a new cycle. Now let's see who we can get off of this. Let's see what we're gonna get off this planet as far as consciousness. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's why you can be programmed into any of the Lord of Lights. Any Lord of Light that's been on this planet, you can be programmed into.
And what do you mean by that? By the program by the Lord of Light is it like a
the Lord of Light would be like your major religions, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad. Basically, these things they came through the Gnostic scriptures. Gnostic just means knowing. Okay, through the occult, they took the Egyptian Book of the Dead and turned it into a novel. They made real people.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Real actors that was making it because they didn't know any better, because they didn't know how to look within. So they only took our knowledge and fed it back to us. That's why it works. Think about it. That's the only reason it would work. This Christianity is a dead religion of 5,000 years ago. So they knew that it had an imprint, or we wanted to believe in a certain thing. So that's why it says, but you can still be programmed into the Christ energy through Jesus. Just like you can be programmed in it through Muhammad, just like you can be programming it through Buddha. All you got to do is follow the teachings. If they're teaching you good, Muhammad said fast once a year, 1 month a year, and purify yourself for the good of yourself. That's the whole Ramadan. Think about it. Is that not a good thing?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? When I did it, I was like, oh my God, now I know why they fast. Now I know why fasting is so important. Shit cleans you out. Your senses become acute. You get a whole new sense of awareness. After the third day. Then every other day is like the third day.
Facts.
But the third day is like that goddamn temptation day. Like, oh my God, I can't do it. Everywhere you go, you smell food, you smell the ingredients, you know what they cook, you know what the side dishes are, and you just smelling it. That's how powerful our senses can be. But what do? We overload our body with food. We eat too much. All right, I want to keep going because it's about to get better. Human intelligence must be initiated into the pyramidal function of light, capital L light, conscious light, before they can be advanced to the next ordering of evolution and the next conscious time cell. Man will see that he is a co-citizen and a co-participant of a star kingdom, which is a part of a cosmic pyramid, which is surrounded by crystalline spheres separating one universe from the next. Think of it this way. All of this is in your mind, in your brain. Your mind represents that invisible, intangible, crystalline sphere. Your brain represents the access to it through your body. We cannot have all the energy that we can access. Otherwise, it'll blow this whole world up, not just our body. That's how powerful we are. The body has to modulate it. That's why you got to meditate. You got to exercise these muscles again to get your spiritual power. All right. Then let's go on. The Sphinx symbolically represents the face of a thinking spiritual intelligence, which can move in and out of our solar spectrum and show us how we can leave our solar spectrum, the lion, and become one of the sons of light, capital L. These spiritual vehicles of light will once again come into the communities of the righteous, where the special grids of the spiritual vibration, or the special grid areas of the spiritual vibration throughout the world. These grids contain the pyramidal patterns, which will receive the vehicle, which comes as a capstone of light, activating the centers of consciousness, of light consciousness. So when the energies get turned on, this is where you come in the Bible, where it's be like, oh, one will be taken, one will be not. One ain't necessarily taken. One is leaving because of their conscious level of vibration. They're moving off this. The other cannot. They still about this. What looks good, feels good, tastes good, sounds good, smells good. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so almost like
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Predestined, pretty much.
Well,
like
it ain't
for those who were.
It is and it isn't. Like for me, I feel like I came down here to do a job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna do my job. That would be my destiny. How well I do my job is a different story.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And it goes for all of us. If I listen to the inner me, I'm gonna do my job excellently. If I'm trying to find something outside of myself to make me happy, and this not goes for me, it goes for all of us. Because what we're trying to do, remember we said it last time, we're on a magical journey. Because everything we talking about, I'm pretty sure most of y'all have never heard before. I've read this book 4 or 5 times. The Urantia book 4 or 5 times. I've got it. This is why I'm at where I'm at. And I'm not trying to boost anything. I'm just trying to let you know I know this shit.
New to me.
I'm just letting you know I know this shit. That's why I can read it to you and make it make sense. Because it ain't my first rodeo. But let's keep going because I got to get through some other chapters. We got a lot more to go. Any questions before we go? Before we start? We left off with the capstone of light activating the centers of light consciousness within us. This is the process of transforming human evolution to co-participate with higher evolution. So now it's going to go over this process of transformation is directed through the proper pyramidal frequencies of light, capital L, balanced by the energies of the Shekinah or the mother's universe. The Shekinah universe is the body of the substrum, or it's the molecular level, which allows the world to be transmuted into higher worlds from its most intricate parts. So that's your cells, your atoms, things of that nature. The real small part would be your Shekinah. That'd be the foundation of the earth, the shit you can't see that builds the body up. The Shekinah universe transforms the basic building blocks of intelligence out of the sea of the eternal. That's all that darkness out there. That's called the sea of the eternal. When you look out there and see darkness, 93% of space is dark. 7% has some light, supernovas, planets, stars, whatever. So out of the sea of darkness, to go into the presence of the Father. The Shekinah universe is the substratum for the universe of the Sun. The Sun's universe consists of programs of creation and evolution directed by the Paradise Sons, spanning different life combinations of intelligence through gross material to pure light. So basically, you got to look at this. These are all different levels of creation. You got the top, the Sun's universe. Who do they work through? They work through the Paradise Sons. What do the Paradise Sons do? The Paradise Sons make sure that they span through the life of the most gross physical person, being, entity, to the most highest light to make sure everything is in accord. Mm-hmm. So at every point of evolution, there's a spiritual being, an essence, an entity, a consciousness behind it. This is what I want you to get if you don't get anything else. Okay. Once you tap into consciousness of you, of Miss Visa, when you used to be in that bush, okay? That was your power, girl. Go back to that bush. Anything you want when you go back to that bush, you will have. I'm going to say it to you. Anything you want. You go back in your mind, you meditate on that bush, bring whatever you want into that bush. That's your power. The spirit is telling me to tell you that for whatever you need. But it's saying, like anything else, hey, use it right. which I shouldn't have to say at all.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yes.
Because that was a safe place. That was a place even of childhood. It has energy in it. You've made that a thought form. Thought forms are something that we think of a lot, and we put concentration and energy in it, and it slowly manifests. But what it can do is it can manifest for energy to come into that bush so you can manifest. Mr. Groovology, you had something.
No, I'm listening. You got it.
Okay, so, the sun's universe programs the creations of evolution by the Paradise Sons. Okay, the Father's universe consists of universes, each having a creator God who sustains the internal unfoldment of the divine thought forms. So what they're breaking down is they're showing you how you can have a planet that had gods that turned away from the Father. The further you get away from the center of the universe, the essence where all the power is, like our sun, we follow a larger sun, a galactic sun. That galactic sun follows a larger sun, a universal sun. All of us going through the universe doing what we do. Okay? But at the essence, at the core is where all the power is. We're on the edge. On the edge, they're given, the Elohims are given the ability, create whatever the fuck you want, man. Basically, create whatever you want. Because you way out there. For them to get back into the center, that's where the shadow work comes in. Spiritual work. That's where we get back to who we are, what we are. The more we know who we are and what we are, consciously, not just walking the path, being the path. Because when you do that, now people can come feed off of Visa energy. People can come feed off of Mr. Accountability energy. Whether you're there or not. Let me keep going. All right. So the Father's universe evolved the celestial architecture for the location of the throne and dominions, the seats of government. These seats of government dispatched the commissions of the Paradise Sons and the Elohim Lords of Light for creation of worlds in the lower heavens. And it is only by the order of the Father's universe through the magistrates who sit on the council of thrones and dominions that the fallen Paradise Sons and the fallen angelic hierarchies can be redeemed. So even those that fell, that rebuked, that got away from what was really real and started doing their own thing, even they can be redeemed. Remember, everything runs off of what?
Consciousness? Or
yes.
Energy? Okay.
Love.
Love.
Because love is direct consciousness. The more you love, the more conscious you can be. All right. So the center of our galaxy unfolds in the opening of a spiral arms. As these stars cool off and the Earth systems between the higher evolutions are able to program intelligence into these newborn planets. All right. Again, the galaxy population 1 life system is expanded. Life suns cool off. The right chemical environment forms and the star seed is planted. When the evolution reaches the next initiation point of its wavelength of light, meaning its evolution as it's moving through, new wavelengths of light can be projected through the triangular coordinates. Through this process, the brotherhood of higher population 2 life systems continually perfect the programs of all interplanetary creations on this side. So basically it's saying there's a monitor that's watching what we do, how we do it, to see if we're ready to get to the next level of love and progression. Obviously, us on this earth, most of us ain't going nowhere. So that's a done deal. Let's just be real. Okay, but they might if they knew the truth. That it's in them. It's not outside of them. It's in them. Let's keep going. In our mind, light functions as masers. This is key. This is your thought. This is how we think. In our mind, light functions as masers. What is masers? Masers is microwave amplification by stimulated emissions of radiation. They call that masers. Microwave amplification by stimulated emissions of radiation. This is projected through the photonucleus, which are quantum mechanics corpuscles of light working by means of photon amplification. All photons are in step. That is, they are reinforced in the same frequency with molecules of mental energy and that changes into physical energy. So basically, what it's trying to say is these microwave applications of stimulated emissions of radiation are your thoughts. No matter how light they are, they have weight, shape, size, volume, everything else. Yes, Mr. Accountability, I hear you.
No, that's go ahead.
So right, so when we think a certain way, when we love a certain way, go ahead, Miss Visa, I'm sorry. Let me just finish. When we love a certain way, we connect on a frequency that is already there. And when we get on that frequency, it energizes us and pushes us up to get to the next frequency. Okay, that's that amplification. That's why it says all photons are in step. Now go ahead, Ms. Visa.
I was gonna say Mr. Accountability Energy must be here because you done called him Mr. Accountability 2 times.
My bad, Mr. Groovology.
I mean, hey.
But you know what?
You ain't even said nothing either. I'm over there just talking.
But you know what? You in it. So you know what? I'm thankful. I don't know. That's something the spirit moving. So hey,
ain't be moving. I'm on the wave, man. I'm trying to ride this wave like y'all trying to hear me ride it. Okay, this isn't coming from me. It's my spirit saying, "All right, let's do this." Yeah, I gotta get in a certain zone for this. This is the shit right here. I wish people knew this. Let's keep going. Okay. Okay. In order to put man into the building blocks of the pyramidal geometries and triangular coordinates of the pyramids of light, capital L, we have this key of consciousness of light, capital L. This is key. Centropy. Centropy. Centropy is the electrification of matter. That's what the mind does. Okay. It creates energy, creates matter through thought. Centropy is the electrification of matter, especially in the material form. Light is the highest amplification of centropy. Okay?
Light is the highest
amplifying it. Amplification of centropy. Meaning it's the highest form. Remember, we went over before. Light is energy. Light is matter. It's the highest form. Okay, in our mind functions. Oh, whoa. Hold on. Step function. Okay, centropy. Right. In our mind, our light functions as masers. Microwave amplifications by stimulated emissions of radiation. All right, so we already went over that. Now essentially this knowledge can be used to find the formula which will explain how light creates the quanta, which is the corpuscles or the containers of light in the brain, and allowing the brain as it does to work like it does as a computer. With this explanation, man can see how his conscious mind receives continuous communication within the brain from all forms of conscious relativity in our conscious zone, which pulsates thought forms through a thinking light cell by photo amplification of light crystals. Now that was a lot. So I'm gonna break it down.
Yeah.
Okay. So man can see how his conscious mind can receive conscious communication, spiritual communication, light that from other realms, people speaking to you, things of that nature, right? You talking to your grandma, talking to your great grandfather, talking to the best part of you, your higher self, right? Okay. This communication within the brain from all forms of conscious relativity in our conscious time zone. So in this zone of consciousness, there's many different relativities, many different what can I say? What do they call it? The multiverse. Many different multiverses, many different groovologies, many different Miss Visas. Okay? You start to connect back to them. You can start seeing yourself do something that you've never done. But it felt real.
Absolutely.
Okay? Now you got to remember, we're going deep. We're going deep, and we're only getting deeper. Okay, so those are the relativities in our conscious time zone, which Paul say thought forms. We make thought forms. If our thought forms connect with higher relativity thought forms, we get a download. We get to be on that level. You see what I'm saying? If you can see a world with no hate, no pain, no killing, that puts you on a certain level of consciousness because you know it exists. It may not exist out here, but you know it exists somewhere inside of you. You know what I'm saying, Mr. Groovology? You
Mr.
feel what I'm saying? You know it exists, so it puts you on a certain conscious time zone. You can move conscious time zone.
That's where it's real. That's the inner. Yeah, that's where it's real.
Only thing trapped down here is our physical. Like Bobby Hemmett and Brother Pandy, nigga, you can go anywhere, nigga. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
All right, let's keep going. The physical scheme of creation is one which centropy cradles entropy. Centropy is the electrification of matter, meaning it's creating. Entropy is how things decay. Shit gets old. It dies. So, but what it's telling you is the physical scheme, this whole world and physical worlds, not just this one, all of them, is one in which the centropy, the electrification of matter, cradles entropy in much as a broader aspect of defining and relating matter and energy as parameters of a single EKG system. Entropy is a subset, comes under the a subset of centropy. Centropy being treatment of a metagalactic ordering. So when the galaxies are forming, universes are forming, that's a metagalactic ordering of centropy. All right?
Okay.
Entropy is when you get in these meat suits and they only have so much time. We're in centropy because remember, we do it in our mind and what we create. So we're part of that, and entropy at the same time. Thus, centropy is the fundamental relationship. Fundamental relationship which quantitatively catalogs all matter energy interactions and interrelationships. Centropy, all the interactions of matter, entropy, death, breakdown, and that's why it says nothing ever dies. It's only transformed. Energy goes back to its state. All right, man must consider himself a part of a larger ionized field of intelligence operating on a part of these interrelationships. Yet, since he has more than one host to a linear unity of centropy, as the energy potentiality for converting centropy to zero, reaching a point of pure energy, he can break the matter energy construct through certain forms of mind expansion. Meditation, going into yourself, putting that Jeep on the altar, saying what you say, going through you. These are different forms of mind expansion. When we go into ourself, when we go to that bush, Miss Visa. Okay? That's what I'm telling you. Because you went there and you manifested, that has power in your mind. Your spirit can communicate to you through that bush. All right, let's keep going. These principles show that the universe is rebuilding itself as it's breaking itself down and is cataloged into new geometries of consciousness to continue in the time cell of higher creation or lower creation. All right, we have to understand that all functions of electrification of energy matter, as well as decay and negative spins of matter, bring space, time, and matter through the pyramid of light as a dimension of energy conversion, whereby the mind reaches out to the illuminarities, meaning reaches out to the light, the infinite light. This process allows man to leave behind the laws of entropy and join the unity with other intelligence who exist on other energy fields of creation, serving the same capital light of consciousness.
Can we look at that decay as change? And that having that.
Remember, we're only building or destroying. Decay would just be change through destruction.
That's right.
That's that would be what's the entity name in the Marvel series? Thanos.
Thanos. Yeah, Thanos or Silver Surfer too, I think, because he destroys planets as well. That's wild. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but what it's letting you know is that it's opening up your mind so it can show you that in you, there's universes within universes within universes and conscious shit happening, just so we can sit here and talk about the shit that's happening in us. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Can't make this shit up. All right, let's keep going. This evolution from the physical body of creation to higher intelligence involves a deeper understanding of life as a multi-dimensional evolution where the individuality does not count, only the continuation of the human species. So basically what it's saying is this evolution is bigger than just humans on this planet. It's humans on every single planet all over the multiverse. And if you're someone that goes by what looks good, feels good, tastes good, smells good, sounds good, if we allow you to rise, you will destroy the perfect balance that has been created. Think of this. Just like in our bodies. You eat too much pork and grease, it's going to affect the perfect balance that's in your body, and you're going to be fucked up. Get sick. Something going to happen. Same thing on the out. As above, so below. You see how we got to start looking at a bigger world. Even in the things we think we know, we have to unlearn, to learn, to relearn, and learn again, relearn again. I mean, it's crazy. All right, Miss Visa, anything?
No.
All right, so I'll say it again. So, okay, at the end of this physical body, we must initiate into light before it can receive the overself body of light, which is the true I am identity. I am that I am. Where you get that from, right? This means that all 7 chakra centers must first be working in perfect harmony and completely aligned with the template of light, capital L light, and the 8th chakra connecting the link of the overself working with the body of light. And once man has gone beyond his physiological limitations of self and desire to serve and only desire to serve his fellow man and the Father, he has purified himself from his carnal predilections. I'm not saying it right. His carnal, meaning his carnal needs or his kind of wants and likes. Once he's purged himself from that, meaning what feels good, looks good, tastes good, smells good, sounds good. Once you can get over that, right, then you can manifest love, capital L love, significant to receive the outer garment of light. Through this assimilation, man becomes cosmic man who can freely participate in other forms of cosmic creation. Then it goes on, when the 2 pyramids of light come together to form the Star of David, a new star universe of intelligence is born. According to the I am of the higher universe, attaches itself to the I am of the lower universe through the Lords of Light who bring the unification into one light of harmony known as the House of David. So that's where you get that whole star. The Star of David from. That's the higher humanity connecting itself with our lower humanity. We right now represent that house because we're talking about the higher science dealing with these lower meat bodies. Same thing. Same thing. And then invert it. And they're all in one. And that's where you get your star system from. Questions?
Man, that's heavy.
It's
so vast, man. But go ahead.
I mean, I can imagine hearing it for the first time. Once again, it took me so many times to read it to get it under. It's gonna get better though. Now we going into the next key, fire letter. That's the hey. That's the hey. Fire letter hey. The key to our astrophysical time zones and the time zones is the 3-in-1 alignment of conscious forces in the Great Pyramid, with the 12-in-1 energies of time warp pyramid centered and controlled by the many and the one throne energies of Orion and Pleiades. Whoa. Let me break it down for you because you didn't hear what I heard. So the astrophysical time zones in the 3-in-1 alignment of conscious forces. So what is the 3-in-1?
Spirit, matter.
It could be it's any of your Trinity. The Trinity. Any of your Trinity.
Spirit, matter. I can't remember the other one right now.
Yeah. Right. So the 3-in-1, which we all are a part of right now, the 3-in-1, what it's saying is conscious time of the 3-in-1 alignment of conscious forces in the Great Pyramid with the 12-in-1 energies of time warp pyramids centered and controlled by the many-in-one. What is the 12-in-1? Your pineal gland is surrounded by 12 cranial nerves, 12 zodiacs. You see what I'm saying? The middle of us, we're not just Libra or Virgo or Pisces. We go through all of them. We were just born under one sign, but we represent the center, that timepiece, that clock in the middle with no hands, with just a little dot right in the middle, goes through every last one of them. That's that 12-in-1. All 12 of those energy circuits, cranial nerves, become activated when the Kundalini energy rises. Okay. You feel me? This is why that 12 is so key. There are 12 cranial names around the pineal gland that activates it. Let's keep going. So that's the 12 in the energy, the 12-in-1 energies of the time warp pyramid centered and controlled by the many and the one. Once again, it's going to continue to tell you that there are multiple deities on multiple levels operating on every level of creation. So we got to get out of this just one person doing things. No, that's not how you delegate. And then you allow your creations free will. The further they get away from the center of the universe, with the power, the energy of unity and love and oneness, the further you can be tempted to do shit your way. But all of them know there's a plan. They leave the center. So, for instance, you have ascending beings and descending beings. This is what you get out of the Urantia book. It breaks this down. How you do a bestowal, how you have ascending beings coming from the center of the universe to create planets or life that they mimic on the outer edge of the universe that they seen at the center. That's what they're trying to do. Ascending beings and descending beings. So ascending beings try to create out here worlds, universes, physical life. Then you have ascending beings, which we would be. We're trying to come from a realm of physical nature, not knowing our essence, and ascending back into the core of everything. Okay. Those are the two different bestowals, they call it. All right, so let's keep going. So this key is speaking directly of the conscious programming. It is telling us that the conscious programming is connected to the Great Pyramid. The conscious force of the Great Pyramid are cued with specific star points, which working with the planetary time warp areas. The geophysical time warp of the Earth, with its meridians drawn according to the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, will note that these areas of the Earth are magnetic fields, as well as solar flares, as well as solar flares caused by the sun's celestial movement, meet at certain energy points or vortex. So this is why we're having all these solar flare activation right now. If you've been peeping it, there's a lot of solar flare, massive eruptions. Oh, we having all these, because what it's doing is it's starting to energize the earth, because the solar flare, the solar flare represents, our sun is starting to dematerialize in its physical form. It's letting through more celestial energy. Once the energy comes through, it affects us celestially, opens up our glands, pineal gland, opens up our spiritual power. That's why they want to block the sun out. Chemtrails, clouds, that's why. They don't want us. Why you think we go to where? To jail. What do? They put you in a dark hole.
Yep, solitary.
No, even in a cell, you ain't outside.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's trying to take that contact away from you. Because remember, we're all of it. Everything you see out here is a part of us. Every brain there is out here is in us.
Okay.
That's why our body hair grows to the sun. Only race. Because we were made for this earth. Meaning we were made somewhere else in Pleiades and Orion. We're going to get to that. So let me keep going. All right. The Earth's biosphere as a watery prism stands in relationships to given star fields, which we will understand by the Egyptians' firmament. The Great Pyramid is aligned with Orion. These are the central threshold controls, or the region of positive programming used by the Elohim Lords of Light, capital L, to connect the many galaxies to our Father's universe. Within the galactic quadrant, these thresholds controls are necessary in coordinating the celestial navigation between universes through the energies of Orion, the central threshold control, and the higher beings of light that move across the waters of the deep. That's where you get your waters of the deep. That was the Elohim creating.
Okay.
We must understand that Pleiades, the cluster, as one of the key centers for the propagation or the birthing of light. Pleiades is the measurement of the for all key time clocks. Here we go again. It's the revolution of our solar system around Pleiades, which represents the precession of the equinox.
Okay.
Once we've rounded it so many times, that represents the time clock. I'm just giving it to you. Pleiades is the measurement for the all-time clock, all astrophysical and templates of measurement. These time clocks on Earth are located in magnetic grids and focused in the Great Pyramid. Earth is controlled by a great geomagnetic energy spokes, and each energy spoke is within a 12 energy spoke as interconnected at certain parts of the Earth's star field. There we go, 12 again. Just like our 12 coronal nerves, there's 12 energy spokes of the Earth. As above, so below. Nothing is wasted in the spiritual stuff. Nothing. It keeps getting recycled over and over. The Earth represents the brain function of us. Our brain would be the Earth. Same type thing. You just got to open it up. The invisible lines of force establish a systematic pattern for formations of particles of matter and antimatter in the programming and control of individual intelligence. That's your centropy and your entropy. All right? That programmable matter. That's what we do when we think and concentrate and meditate. We're programming matter from the darkness. Each of the 12 main lattices, areas, or degrees is controlled by a high-frequency biophysical pyramid. What appears as a physical structure of these time warp areas exists in reality as a twin force of matter, antimatter, which creates a mirror-like image which can be used to alter physical reality to a much higher level of universal intelligence. So these pyramids just ain't regular pyramids. They've been established for a reason. That's why they're all over the world. underwater, inner water, and the Bermuda Triangle represents an area where they use. That's why shit be disappearing. Where they use those pyramids when they become activated to move in and out of this realm. Let's keep going. The Brothers of the Light. Oh, unless we got a question.
Really?
The Brothers of the Light use these 12 grids or vortexes to enable them to come in the Earth's biofield, build great civilizations to help the consciousness of man understand his divine origin. Here we go with these Lords of Light. They come and go like a flash. Enoch explained to me how the Brotherhood of Light first sought to upgrade the intelligence upon this planet eons ago. And the first attempt in recent cycles of time took place in the Toka Marka Desert, where the civilization of the Talk was evolved 36,000 years ago and reached over a vast area to which man would call South America. Great city areas were built, seeded with great technology of the heavens, so that man could directly call upon the name of the Lords of Light, that while living in bodies that were of great light and the light of the molecular destiny. Let me say that again. So man could directly call on the name of the Lords of Light while living in the bodies that were of great light and the light of molecular density. Human bodies, meat suits. But we still had the power to call on our internal spiritual energy and use it in the physical form.
Doing that by meditation?
Through meditation, through power of the mind, through power of the spirit. You could remember your incarnations. You weren't lost like now where you can't remember, where we're remembering all this for the first time, but you knew. And it's saying that they already started this 36,000 years ago. It's starting to show you the cycles of time, precession of the equinox. This earth has been used over and over again for the same type of earth-like melting pot to see what consciousness can break through. So listen to this. It gets better. So the Lords of Light living in the bodies. After this experiment ended in disaster, with the, okay, after this experience ended in disaster with the people of light intermarrying the fallen offspring of the Lords of Light, and another experiment was generated in the area known as Atlantis. So what happened to Atlantis? Here we getting answers now to what was going on back then. It ended in disaster. Why? The Lords of Light, the fallen angels, whatever you want to call them, the Elohim started mating with humans. Then the humans started realizing, wait a minute, I'm part of Elohim. I'm part of God. All right? This is what the story around this, why it ended in failure. Okay? But then, once again, Elohim's like, well, shit, this gives us another opportunity to start another experiment. This is the experiment. So Lord's Light is there. The technology was based upon crystalline attunement of matter and antimatter cycles of physical and non-physical worlds. By stepping up or slowing down the frequency of energy between the two cycles, they could shift in a time space to occur. So they could go between time, go back, go forward. This, however, ended in failure. Due to the mixing of the genetic codes and the factors of light by the fallen axis Lords of Light, who use their crystalline technology to bring great civilizations of light into war and destruction. All right, now we get into our story. What really happened? The last attempt of generating a higher genetic people took place during the time of Egypt about 6,000 years ago, when the great people of Israel with the higher spiritual capacity, 9 Isa, were implanted to upgrade the people of the world by bringing the message of the living light kingdom of light to all nations. All right. In order for us to understand the present cycle of evolution, we must understand how the Brotherhood of Light will still connect to the Pyramid of Egypt in the continuation of the Joseph, Muhammad, and Yahshua or Jesus initiation in the government of the special species, the Israelites, who were the pyramid builders of consciousness in the name of the living light, to lead the nations of man away from false gods of the world as they gathered the 12 sparks into the brotherhood of light. Egypt represented the mathematical, the astronomical, the pyramidal foundation of earth. And so Israel represented the spiritual capstone. The Great Pyramid at Giza represented Israel, the spiritual capstone of light, amplified by the people of Israel. Israel. That's the people of Israel. Isis, Ra, and El. Okay? Gods who received the 10 commandments. Now it starts to get okay. When humanity can find spiritual Israel where? Within. When humanity can find spiritual Israel within and the knowledge and the alignment of the great pyramids without, they can place the capstone of spiritual freedom upon the foundations of this world. Enoch explained to me that mankind opens up the spiritual sphinx and uses conscious meridians which connect the 12 vortexes of the world to the pyramid phoenix. He will have reached the threshold where the energy vehicles can return and take mankind to the next evolutionary station. So when our energy, our kundalini, our Christ energy can activate the 12 cranial nerves to activate our pineal gland, we can now participate in other realms of creation. In fact, go ahead. In fact, the Great Pyramid is built on such a point where the magnetic fields under the earth and those on the surface of the earth and those in celestial fields all cross so that the fields of alignment are direct. The magnetic fields are aligned through these areas of magnetic energies, which mark the points where the energies from the outer space pour into the earth's surface. These areas are balanced off on the earth by the magnetic north and south pole. At the time when tremendous solar flare movement bombarding this magnetic point of the earth, the fields of the earth will be set into cataclysmic imbalance, spinning the shell of the earth into a new magnetic meridian, which finds their balance equatorially. Meaning, right now we're under this tremendous solar flare bombardment. Nothing is happening because it ain't supposed to be happening. So right now we're supposed to be getting downloads from these solar flares. We got to think higher, do better. Okay. Any questions about the magnetic fields? Solar flare involvement? What the solar flares are?
No, go ahead, Darian.
No, you got it. Go ahead, B. I'm listening.
So I would just say when he mentioned the solar flares, that's what they've been talking about a lot lately.
Yes.
Solar flares and seeing the holes and the sun.
Talking about it's going to mess up the phones and the internet's going to go out and this and all that. That's all solar flare.
AT&T lost their phones, right?
Oh, it's not.
Remember AT&T? They lost.
Yeah, they was down for a while. I remember that.
Yeah. So it was a lot going on, but that makes sense. It's not something. It's not what they say conspiracy theory. It's actually a part of the transition that's taking place right now.
Right. But see, we were meant to know these things. If we were reading the book of knowledge since kids, we know what was going on, why it was going on, how it was going on. So let's keep going. Oh, go ahead, Ms. Visa.
That's why everything that I say is in your mind. There's nothing that is outside of you. So I mean, you still have access to this information.
You have access. This is only thing you guys are doing right now is remembering what you forgot. Don't get it twisted. You ain't learning nothing new. You're only remembering what you forgot because you represent all of this knowledge. All right. For example, higher intelligence is coming into an ocean through the pyramid 5 energy configurations of the Bermuda Triangle and is making use of the ocean shelf, which is there from previous Atlantean ages, preparing America to be the new Atlantis. In previous Atlantis sphere, the crystalline energy being reactivated as the centers of energy focus on this planet, which will be used once the Earth's inner core neutral matter has been upheaved up. I think that's an eruption. But let's keep the new Atlantis centers will be activated by the Bermuda Triangle, the Great Seas, the Salt Sea, the pyramidal agent areas by higher evolution. These areas will be used by the Jerusalem Command on Orion to open chambers of the earth that provide for the shifting of consciousness to the Americans and the home of the dove as the Father's program shifts from the Middle East to the West. Believe it or not, they're talking about how this whole slave trade came. Everything is going to move over here. Believe it or not, they did not take millions, 10 million, 100 millions of us. They did not. We were already here. Well, just look at America right now and put Navajo, Blackfeet, tribe it right off with the 50 states with the 50 names of the tribes that were already here. Who they stole from the Egyptians, they stole scientists, mathematics. That's who they stole. Don't get it twisted. Who you think built this shit?
Shit, we did.
A slave ain't built. Where they gonna get the science from? They stole the scientists, the builders, the architects, the mathematicians, the teachers, the highest of the high. Anyone can pick cotton, but who gonna make the cotton machine? Who do you think made the cotton machine? Here we go. So, all right. Let me go through the people who are brought. No. So it told you, so the land of the dove shows you a picture. That's America right there in it. It's trying to show you just the areas of America, the whole America, though. It's not just one area. If you're tuned into the frequency you're in, it isn't a spot. It isn't a place. That's just a representation. But that's where we get lost in all of this. We start thinking of shit literally. It's not literal. So the people are brought into the areas where the transfigured can go on with the galactic seed already in the image of the Lamb, are given galactic keys to Pleiades, and their seeds in the physical flesh will be like the stars of the heaven. They will take Exodus to other solar systems to begin a new Genesis in the next ordering of creation. At this time, the Great White Brotherhood will come to take its own seed. For the 20 million years ago, it planted its seed in the crystal within the galaxy. At the intervals of every 6 to 12,000 years, the celestial lords of light gather the cultivated seed crystal of evolution left by the original Adamic guardians who have activated the direct programming of Earth, who, in other words, who have found their divine light every 6 to 12,000 years. Meaning, what do? They plant it, they let shit go. Whoever finds out, finds out. Whoever knows. Whoever spiritual. We come back to get y'all. The rest of them can stay right there until they find out.
Right.
Yeah. All right. It even goes on. They will deliver their seed and the seed of other nations who wish to be coded into the galactic tree of the living light in the paradise mansion worlds of the Father. Those who accept the Christ seed, Buddha seed, Muhammad seed, any of the Lords of Light will have within them an active channel of light which allows them to function as the Adamic race upon other planetary worlds and in other universe. The world that they will inherit will depend upon the maturity of their soul and the way they have allowed the capital L light of consciousness to function within the service of their fellow creation. Now, did we hear that?
It sounds like that sound like a whole Sunday sermon, like the second coming. That's not like the rapture when you go to heaven. Like that's what that sounds like the whole.
Basically, and it's just letting you know you don't have to know it all. They ain't got to be like us that want it all. We want to know all of it. Even if you know just one and your heart is moved and you've opened your love chakra, that is enough. Think about it. Remember, the Father loves all creation. The Father is going to give us every extent that he can so we can move on to the next realm. Every olive branch, every help, every spiritual power, everything. Because everything runs off love. Love, love, love. All right, let's keep going. The Galactic Command will be able to take the physical creation and energize its body into the atomic structure of the Great White Brotherhood, or no matter what group or race. The crystalline functions of the 12 will be opened, will be cleansed. That's your cranial nerves, that crystalline will be opened and cleansed as the scroll of Revelation. We will be one with the great white throne in the midst of the earth. The watchmen of Zion are being sent into the 12 geophysical time warp areas to proclaim the pillar of light will come out of the larger artificial time warp areas of light. The watchers of Zion will move into these areas and call the people of these areas, those in the physical form as well as those in other dimensions of intelligence, which have always coexisted with the people on earth, but who have not been seen by the people on earth unless they have been polarized by the pillar of light that governs all. For behold, a great sign will be given to you upon when the coming of the pyramidal capstone of the Christ energy in the skies. There will be upon a landing upon the pyramidal functions of the righteous to be quickened, the living dust of the gravitationally trapped light to become a new earth. So basically it's saying we're going to move off of entropy. Entropy will be no more.
Okay.
Now we're going to move into the next realms of centropy. That gravitationally trapped light will be no more. That's entropy. When they say gravitationally trapped, that means it's trapped because it can't express its full volume of power. It's a square function of the circle. Just like a circle is 360 degrees, a square is also. But a square would be within the circle, and in the square would be physical creations of entropy, mathematically.
So when I looked up the definition of entropy and centropy says a tendency of particles in a system to come together in an organized way.
Mm-hmm.
So you said when it said the entropy won't be anymore, it said lack of order, unpredictability, gradual decline into disorder. So
disorder would be decay.
Decay, right? So now you're saying that's going to be done, and we're moving into the age where we're more organized as we come together. Is that saying one within yourself, because it says particles? So that's one within oneself, or one as a collective.
One within the greater collective, all running off the same infinite and eternal energy.
Okay.
But now you'll be graduated, so you'll go down to an Earth-like planet and help that planet get to the next realm. You see what I'm saying? The reason we're in the problem we are now is because our code was intercepted by the fallen Elohims. And then they start to be God. That's why it says, have no other God but me. Why did he say that if there was only one God? Meaning entities, Elohims. In the Bible, when they say God, they mean Elohim. Elohim is plural. It's not one God, it's many. Mm-hmm. And we have to open up to that's why in the very first chapter, it said the many in the one in the universe. Why? Because there's many different hierarchies, different energy systems, different principalities that make this physical world exist. Everything is for this shit right here, believe it or not. As bad as this shit may be, everything is made for this physical world to exist so we can be in a world and not of it. We can experience death, but never die. This shit is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, man. Think about it. Right now, all of us think we dead, but we never died. This shit is crazy, bro. I'm just trying to help. This is where I be at in my spatial journeys out there in Nowheresville, thinking of this crazy stuff.
I was laughing because this shit is wild.
Go ahead, Darian.
I'm saying that's wild. But go, you got
but the Bible said, didn't I say that ye are gods?
Yep, ye are gods.
We're a part. Everything these scriptures are saying that the essence in us is God material. Every conscious being, every conscious cell, every conscious organ, God material.
Every particle, according to entropy.
And right. And the difference between us and others is we know it.
Know it.
You see what I'm saying? That's where the power comes. When you know it.
Okay.
All right.
That heart.
One more chapter. We almost done.
Okay.
Our universe. This is the last fire, like the Yud.
Okay.
If you notice, all of them go by the front. See the front? Yuhe Wave. These are just fire letters from that. All right. Our universe is created out of the light, capital L, light synthesis of the next universe, the Pleiades, the creator, the cradle, and the throne of our consciousness. All right, now we about to get deep. So hold on. Let's ride this wave. Enoch explained that the local universe is a triangular light core of 10 million light years within a surrounding veil of 20 million light years. This veil consists of heat envelopes which form the biological testing zone necessary for divine light. All right? Okay. We were just talking about this meat suit. Why would we want to come down here? Why do you think, the people keep saying we fallen? No, we all chose this. Why? Because it's the best way for us to understand every essence of creation. So everything we done talked about is for physical creation to thrive. People to die or think they die and come back. All right. It's a biological testing zone for divine life. The biochemical testing zone surrounds a core or a central sun known as the Kobah. That's our central sun, the sun that our sun rotates around. Series A, the higher sun, but that's a whole nother thing. Both our physical universe, one spectrum of our local universe, and the surrounding biochemical testing zones are superseded by an invisible world of negative mass, which reshapes the atomic structure and is used in the building of physical systems in our visible galaxy. What is that? That invisible, superseded by an invisible world of negative mass. That's the triple stage of darkness. Before soul, before spirit, before form, before place, before space, before time, before light, before energy, before matter. Boom, now we can have oxygen. And once they squeeze, they call it involution, squeezed itself up. Soul squeezed itself up, became spirit. Spirit squeezed itself up and became form. Those three squeezed themselves up, became time, became place, became space. Squeezed themselves up, it became light, became matter. Then boom. That's where they get their Big Bang Theory. That's that negative world of mass, all right? We got to keep that in mind because we are from that world before the light. I don't know if you know how powerful I just made you, but you'll get it. All right. The invisible world of negative. So it's saying, let me go back. Both our local universes, one in the spectrum of your local universe and the other surrounding biochemical testing zones, are superseded, meaning surrounded, meaning engulfed in what? An invisible world of negative math. That's that darkness out there in the space, which shapes the atomic universe and is used, shapes the atomic nucleus and is used in the building of the physical energy systems of our visible galaxy. It's saying visible galaxy because it's letting you know there are many layers that you cannot see. Thus, the physical universe proceeds out of a world of negative mass, which is used for the purification of trapped light. All right? So that darkness purifies worlds of empathy, and brings them into centropy. That's why in the dark, we have to manifest. We have to think in the darkness. We're born in the darkness. All that. That's the key. That's where all the power is. From the dark comes the light. The blueprint for this physical universe in the world of negative mass pre-existed in the higher heavens and in the star codes of Pleiades, saying before there was even a physical earth, there was a spiritual earth, an earth of negative mass. From these codes, the Elohim Lords of Light in Orion created a formation of negative mass, which was modulated by the thought forms of the Lord of Light in the creation of physical universes of mass evolution. Now we're getting to evolution. Man, us, people, being born, evolving in bodies, things of that nature. Right?
Mhm.
Before, we're only talking about the formulation of atoms, cells, things of that. All right? Allowing some forms of the starseed evolution, allowing some forms of the starseed evolution to unfold into given forms of light continually. Thus, the physical life proceeds out of mass evolution through the star codes of Pleiades from the dimensions of the biochemical rhythms of the atomic nuclei, which are created in Orion, meaning the thought process, how the bodies are going to have a mind, how they're going to be conscious. Orion shapes the higher astrochemical wavelengths of the sun in us, the soul, which is not created by negative mass. That's that light particle. In these higher creative functions, there are Madrid arrangements of patterns. That means many patterns for the astrochemical destiny in the heavens, whereby Pleiades and Orion are cooperatively used in programming the life synthesis with the pure light bodies of Orion into a transfigured corresponding physical form of the Pleiadic programs, meaning it's saying that our spiritual consciousness is from Orion and our physical bodies that's holding the consciousness is from Pleiades. That's why every overnight over me, I see Orion and Pleiades every goddamn night. Every night. I'm where I'm at in Florida. And now I know why. It's reminding me of where our essence is from, how we got down here. Now, don't get it twisted. Just like you have Orion and Pleiades are good, you have the Big and Little Dipper are the demonic spots. But we're about to get into it. So listen. Pleiades represents the key to the physical procreation. It represents the galactic beginning of the physical atomic threshold. What does that say? It's saying that before there was a physical atomic threshold, there was always an atomic threshold of light, energy. Before this, once again, I'm trying to get you to recognize how deep this shit is. What happens, the earth was once physical in its start. Spiritual, meaning there was no physical things. Everything was spiritual in light form. It slowly broke down and became more and more physical till we came into the meat bodies. But that may have took 25,000 years, 50,000 years. We're at the end of that structure right now. All right? So, again, we examine the book of Genesis involving the 7 days or the 7 eons of light, capital L. The races which evolved during the first 6 eons of time were superseded by the 7th ray, planting the atomic threshold of Orion and Pleiades intelligence in the planet as a witness to the evolving nations. Boom. So they came down and planted their own essence of higher evolution down here. How did they do it? They put it in the bodies of suits. How do you know if you're one of them? If you have 9 ether. That's why our genetic code is foreign to the earth. And if anyone has heard me speak, they know when I've talked about this before. Now we're getting the actual science of why. I know so much shit and I tell you things, but I can't tell you why, because this is why I had to break it down like this and I couldn't break it down the way it's getting broken down. Does it make sense, Ms. Visa?
Yes, yes.
And now we're about to go in and break down. Now we're about to go into different type of creations or beings on the earth. So,
Vixen.
What'd you say? Oh.
No.
All right. So Orion emulates the gnosis, the knowing. This is where we get our knowing from. The knowledge which creates the spiritual powers of the Christ energy. However, the pre-garment of light, which is needed to embody this higher light consciousness, comes from Pleiades. Pleiades gives us the light garment of negative mass, which shapes the physical spectrum of the many who are called. Now we're talking about the many who are called, but the chosen are few. Like I said, in one sperm cell, there's 7 million 777,777,777 sperm cells in one ejaculation. That means there was that many beings wanted your job, Mr. Groovology, but you got it. So no matter what you go through down here, you have been chosen.
There's significance to that 7? Well, they say it's
Absolutely.
like completion, but
completion, born, God or goddess, meaning knowing of self, knowledge of self. So let me keep going. So Pleiades also gives us the light garment of negative mass, the physical spectrum of the many who are called. Between the two are the rational minds who divert their mental energy from the lower heavens to call upon themselves. They prevent the Azoki, who are receiving the spiritual gifts of the Gnosis in spiritual form. The evolution of our local universe, we have many fallen planets that have been claimed for themselves an eternal inheritance of the Father. However, Enoch clearly tells us in this key that the Adamic race as a family of God has come in the physical form in Orion and Pleiades, whereas Pleiades is both the true cradle, seed bed, the embryo, all right, and the throne codes to support pre-existent consciousness of light. So it's saying that our consciousness is pre-existent. We come from a dark realm, and the only way our bodies are pre-existent consciousness of light can be in a body, it has to be made from Pleiades. Go ahead.
So is that dark realm also the Shekinah?
It would be the clip off, the hidden part, the dark side of the tree of life. It would represent the darkness of space. I'm not quite familiar with Shekinah. What is that?
Shekinah. You mentioned it earlier, and it was the darkness. This is in the last chapter, but that's okay because I wrote it down. But that's right.
The Shekinah.
Yeah,
the building blocks. Yes, it would probably be in the mother's universe because it represents the things we don't see, the things that build up everything. The atoms, the proton, neutron, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the darkness of the womb, right?
The darkness of the womb, there you go, yes. So what it's outlining that there's different type people. You got some people down here that are sheep. They're going to go by what feels good, looks good, tastes good, smells good. You got some people down here that use their rational minds, right? But they use their rational minds to try to control shit. They want everything. They haven't tapped into the higher love. Then you have the Zokar or the Zoki people that come down with the spiritual gnosis. We know. And we're trying to let everybody else know freely. Let me keep going. The cradle is where the conscious seed enters the physical womb of space and time through the few who are chosen by the throne, allowing those who are of the physical seed the opportunity to graduate into other universes of higher thrones and dominion. Okay, so it's saying through this realm right here, when you're done, you should be graduated unless you have another mission to higher thrones and dominion. And you go further because you were in this realm. If that makes sense, because you had to go through the meat suit. Pleiades is considered the foundation for harmony of creation. However, the many who are called must go through a Madrid of other kingdoms before they can enter the pure thought, pure energy in the kingdom of light. This is until they have reached the state of divine non-evolution, meaning we are no longer evolving on the physical realm at all. We are now evolving in a form of light. This key speaks of the celestial image of God working through the brothers of light in Orion and Pleiades, and the celestial organs of the brotherhood of light as assigned to the planet. The chosen of this planet who successfully serve the species qualify not only to put on the higher self body of light, but are also given the knowledge of how to use the codes of the biochemical creations on this planet to mutate a species capable of carrying the light into other creations. For this reason, the people of Israel were created. All right, now I need some comments on this one. Did you hear that, Miss Visa?
I hear it. I heard you. But I understand.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again. The chosen of this planet. This is why we come down here. This is Destiny's championship ring. This is the power of making it through the meat suit with the hate and the violence and the killing. The chosen of this planet who survived served their species qualified not only to go to the higher body over self of light, meaning our Adam Cadman. We'll be able to use the Merkaba, go through other systems and things. We're in a body of light. Not only will we get a body of light, but we are also given the knowledge of how to use the biochemical creation on this planet to mutate species capable of carrying the light into other creations. For this reason, the people of Israel were created. This is why we wanted to come down here. All spirits or entities or souls don't have that energy. They got to go through the meat suit first.
Yes.
So it's showing why we're going through, why it seems so tough.
Right.
We find the scroll, the descendant master of Job, that the lords of light in Orion and Pleiades are continually rejoicing in the creation and setting the boundaries, opening the channels of light, bringing down the 12 star systems of the heavenly light, measuring the world with the weights and the measures of light of Orion. All the energy is carefully weighed and measured before it can be taken out of the scales of space and time. Job saw this draw how his sons and daughters were also taken in and out of the levels of creation. When we become a family of God, and it has this long word, heperlagermenio, it's horrible. When we become the people of God, throughout the furnace to work with the Father's plan on earth, we shall unite with the shepherd, and together we shall go through the gates of the Big Dipper and rise to the level of higher star intelligence. So all it's saying is, once you can do the work and know the Father's plan, I say this all the time, there's a plan going on earth. If you know the plan, you good, because you know the end game. Okay, once you can follow this plan, you become the shepherd. You can move through this realm to the next. In the end, we as a family of God, as the living family of God, will see the opening of the stargates of the Big Dipper and Pleiades and coming down of the Merkaba, the spiritual spaceship. During the new eon of light, there will be judgment of the earth and the release of the sun from its circumpolar spiral, meaning it's releasing the sun from the spiral of entropy, and now it can go into a spiral of centropy. All right. The Big Dipper, Eurasia Minor, and the Little Dipper, Eurasia Major, scratch that, reverse it. The Big Dipper, Eurasia Major, and the Little Dipper, Eurasia Minor, are the threshold gates of lower evolution in opposition of Pleiades. Okay? That's where you get your Drago, your dragons, your reptilians. That's where you get all that from. That whole sucking the earth dry and trying to control the earth. All right. The 7 lampshades, are up in opposition to Pleiades. The 7 lampshades to the throne of the Father. So Pleiades represents the 7 lampshades. Why? Because there's a cluster of 7 stars. That's when you look up there, you see all those clusters. All right. At the end of time, we will see the war of the heavens and the coming of the host of Michael, this will free the planetary intelligence from the influence of the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper and the negative influence controlling the root races of this planet. Thus, the organic structure of the God's race, or the Christ energy, will proceed beyond the 7th day, when man will graduate to work with the intelligence in Orion and Pleiades. Thus, the high command works with our solar system through the midway stations of our Alturas, which opens the lower heavens by breaking the control handle of the Big Dipper, whereby allowing the lower heavens to move into alignment with the true star pointing of Pleiades. Basically, what it's saying is this will break the hold of the fallen angels, the fallen Elohim that condemn this earth, that want to be gods. Their hold will be broken. Now, all those that know truth, see truth, feel truth will break free from this reality. In the formation of our local universe, here we go. The fallen lords of light initiated the blueprints of the sacred star groups. By initiating their seed into these regions, such as Eurasia Minor or the Little Dipper, these star systems became midway stations controlling negativity on lower world, meaning they became actual stations of pain, hate, weakness, desire that actually projected into the world. These are where they say where people are being controlled. Yes, if your spirit is weak, they program you into this hate, this all about me mentality. All right. Intelligence in these distant universes are called upon not only to judge the earth, but also to judge the gods whose reign in these fallen stations of the sky. We too are on the threshold between the spiritual powers and humanity. We'll be called upon to judge the angels who have been casted into our dimension of space during this cleansing of the sky, fulfilling the words of Corinthians where it says, do you know that you shall judge angels? So us that know better will judge the angels that put the rest of our people in this persecution. We will judge them according to their law because we know it on earth. The law of love, capital L, runs the whole universe. We know it, so we'll be able to judge them. Remember, stop thinking of yourself as a human. You're an Elohim. You're a nine ether being. Only thing human about you is this meat suit.
Right.
Okay, that's what Brother Panic was saying. Everywhere he go, he take his God with him. All right, let's keep going. We're almost done. So, moreover, this key says the seven thresholds of light are speaking of the wars in the heavens, heavenly spheres between the spiritual powers in high places for control of the Zokar race. The Zokar, which is this electromagnetic body, has 4 bodies it puts on top of it to become the Adam Cadman, the spiritual essence that can move freely throughout the universe. All right, it's over this body. Zokar is a part of that. Okay. Zokar races contain the codes of the Adam Cadman. The Zokar races are the celestial counterparts evolved the same manner of blueprint would govern the soul evolutions on planets. So they're evolving also, just in a different realm. The planetary counterparts consist of 3 basic types of men. All right, clay people who have the ability to evolve within our own realm of creation and are largely governed by the fallen chemistry of physical universe under the fallen influence of the Big Dipper. All right, meaning they're under the fallen influence of hate, control, violence, death. That's one type of people, right? And they are oblivious to the higher orders of star evolution. So they don't even know there's anything else. Only thing they know is what they know. I'm a human. I need to eat. I want all the food. I want all the cars. I want all the money. Me.
Just the
I want what looks good, tastes good, smells good, sounds good, smells good. Looks good. Then you have the rational people who serve mathematics of the circumpolar areas of the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper and think of gods as only a mathological manifestation of the 12 signs of the zodiac. So they don't even think God exists. They think they are all there is because they're so smart and they know every goddamn thing that there ain't no gods, nigga. That's just what we use to try to say there's a God. Then you have us, the few who have chosen to work within the Lords of Light, who look at the Pleiades as the Big Dipper in conjunction with the stations of Orion, where Michael, Metatron, and Melchizedek, with the 144,000 Lords of Light, and minister under the sun's universe in the name of the living light of Yuhewave, or the conscious light. Our soul is open. What is they saying? How many Lords of Light are there? 144,000 Lords of Light. Not 1, not 2, not 10. 100, and you can learn from any of them to get you from planetary Earth-like planets here to the next level. All right, let's keep going. The offering to the Father in Orion and Pleiades was dramatized by the special mathematic symbol showing how the 7 chakras could work together in offering up the divine breath. This special offering is an ancient time is symbolized by the coded 7 bulls, which have the star face of Taurus Orion, and the 7 rams, which have the star face of Pleiades. In the scripture, it talks about Taurus and it talks about the 7 bulls. This is what they're really talking about when you're looking at it from a God's eye. From the Pleiades, we come across the redemption through the image of the Lamb of God. The Lamb will be seated upon the throne of God, and he will carry the sword of light, which will behead the energies of the fallen sons, S-U-N, and all those who sought blasphemies against the Father and the Paradise Sons and the Holy Spirit Mother Universe. Thus, Pleiades and Orion give the mathematics for every chemical sacrifice required in life from Genesis to Revelation. Pleiades, physical aspects, atoms, cells, protons, neutrons. Orion, spiritual aspects, consciousness, thought, light. Those who carry the image of a lamb will be separate from those who carry the image of the bear, the Big Dipper, and those who carry the dragon, El Dragos, the fallen spiritual powers controlling the old linear astronomy of Babylonian sciences, forcing man to do homage in lower heavens. All right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a question?
Yeah, what would be our symbol of, there's a dragon and then
the image of the lamb.
Okay.
Meaning peaceful, quiet, central, you know what I'm saying? Okay. The fallen spiritual powers controlling the old astronomy of the Babylonian science, forcing man to do homage in the lower heaven, meaning to pray to lower gods, not knowing that he is a god, not knowing that we're connected to the energy, only praying to Jesus or giving God everything, but not knowing that that power is in you. With a great rushing thanksgiving, the Lords of Light will return the consciousness of the overself to our human consciousness, allowing us to break through the biochemical shells of this world, surrounded by negative mass. Simultaneously, we'll be gathered into the air to meet the Lord. This will allow our body vehicle to be judged in both terms of this world as well as an affinity to the world of higher spiritual consciousness, the world of the Christ over self body. Those who worship the beast through their astronomy and astrology of lower heavens and their mathematical engraven images of the light are returned to the beginning of their conscious programming once again. Basically, what's happening, all they're doing is return back to the very beginning of the conscious start. So they're not given, they're not dying, they're not erased. They just got to start over again. And this time they get a better chance of gathering light and love, meaning there is no death. All right, keep going. Then we see Pleiades in the term as the organic seed of the spiritual people of the Christ race, and we see that Pleiades in terms of the greater sacrifices of light and cosmology. The 6th key then shows us higher lights are modulated in the physical universe, which is controlled by the force of 666, so that the pure light thought form of the masters working with 777 principal star clusters of Pleiades have the power to materialize a new heavens and a new earth, so that the former things will not be called to mind. Now we're talking Revelation. So once we go from this 6-6 realm to 7-7, shit in 6-6 won't even exist anymore. And at the time of the liberating of a germateria body, that's one of the 5 bodies of the atom cadmium, we will go beyond the 7-7 combination and connecting the lower biological creation to become one with the Christ germateria body of 888. This liberated body thus ascends into the higher infinite throne worlds of the Father and the many mentioned worlds, which are liberated reigns with the Christ energy. This tremendous power of the Godhead in the name of the living light, Uawafe, resurrects even the kingdom of darkness. For at the time the Spirit of the Lord will no longer strive with man, and the heavens of the sun shall be revealed to the righteous sons and daughters and the lambs who stand in the awe of the throne. And with a great wisdom, the Son of Righteousness, S-U-N, shall walk with God as Enoch, or we shall walk with God as Enoch, and God shall wipe away the tears, and there shall be put upon us the crown of light, and there shall become the Lamb who has faithfully carried the cross of creation unto salvation. That's what we're here for. That is our testament. We come down into this realm of hate and violence to faithfully carry the cross of creation into this world for the salvation of all our people.
Good and bad.
Good and bad.
Right.
Those who can love. The righteous among us. Those who can see a world of no hate. Every film you see, every Star Wars, every space, they always got what? Space criminals. People killing each other for resources. That's not the real realm. Ain't nobody killing themselves for nothing. But it shows that where their mind state is.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So those were the next 3 chapters in the Book of Knowledge.
Okay. It's coming together. Like the first parts were hard to discuss, but overall, it's the creation story.
Over and over and over again, Miss Visa.
It's the creation
at every level of creation.
Now it's a better understanding, but this is freeing in this way. It's freeing because you're getting the creation story without serving outside of yourself. You being able to be in the creation, part of creation, and creating all at one time. You're on those what he mentioned earlier as you're existing on multiple timelines,
multiple dimensions at the same time.
At the same time, because you're actually in creation. And I think about when people say, well, I'm in creation, when they say like they're out in nature. People say I'm out in creation when they're in nature, because that's where their oneness is. And nature is your natural nature. Being natural is your realm, is your habitat, is the essence of you.
Right.
So when you're in that essence, going back to what you said earlier about the Pleiades and what was the other one? Orion, it was your actual essence, right? It's from. So when you hear it in this way, people can understand this, is that all these deities, all these past energies, these the Draconians, the Lyrans, the Palladians, the Andromedans, the Syrians. I said Dogons, but they say they're from Sirius B, and all of these entities that exist all over, they're all part of you. The dragons, they're all part of you that exist in your consciousness at all times, because you have dominion anyway over these entities, because they're within you, within yourself, within your essence. So that is the coming together of the synthropy.
Yes.
Okay, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Okay. So that's
showing that you are one. You are one of the many, and you are part of that energy.
Right.
That's part of you.
Bad or good, and how it looks. But this is free also because you understand that the sun rises and sets on the good and bad, and God said, "I created he and them. I created all of them." So
everything,
no matter what spectrum you're on, it's freeing for people who are still caught up in the hatred, are still holding the grudges, and still, deep in their psychosis of what someone had done to them and seeking revenge, or people who stuck in the energy of the realm of jealousy and envy. And these lower things, and we can say, okay, that's who they are. But guess what? We have to also understand that they have a chance to redeem themselves. What we say redeem is they have a chance to know themselves on a higher form. So and then again, they will be repeating that energy, right?
Right. So now you're getting it.
So that is the entropy.
Entropy. Right. But so, entropy is caught up in centropy.
Okay, so
it's a substratum, meaning it's part of centropy.
Okay, it's part of it. This because the lower energy, or we want to say thought forms. You might have this.
I see.
On the thought forms of the people who are or energies that are in the chaotic realm are just continuing to want to feed off our energy to keep the chaos going or the discord going, and to maintain power. That's actually flipped right now. So we're up at the moment, right? Oh, what's that? So those energies, why I say it's freeing, is that now you can people who hear this, they can actually release any of those energies that's still causing a blockage in their heart, or where they're trying to ascend to, and they're on their path to make peace with that, because the Judas, or whatever we want to call them, right? They have a right to ascend just as well.
Right. No one is doomed to, unless you choose to serve this material form in every fabric of your being. But that's a choice you got to make.
So if they're not willing to release the sugars, if they're not willing to address those things, then they're just going to be repeating the process until they understand it.
Fact.
So you're just like, okay, let them have that, and you.
But you can come to a point where you're building up. Now you're at this 50,000 year period, and you still choose it. Okay, tenfold, we just gonna restart you. You ain't gonna die, but we'll restart you. This go around was a dud. You didn't learn anything.
Right. A song came to my mind when you said that. You say we're building up and building up. I heard solid as a rock.
Yeah.
Building up. Now we solid as a rock,
baby. We solid now. We good. We are good.
I'm gonna eat in a minute as soon as we get off. As soon as I'm done. Okay.
We are good. So, I mean, and these are the things I think that we should, tap into. But most people, because of this or that or the other reason, only read certain books that everyone else reads. You know what I'm saying? But they claimed it to be different. If you try to get them to read the book, they wouldn't.
Right.
Because of where they are at the time.
Right. But it goes back to the three type of people. You got those that want to know, that's going to do the work. Like we said, in the book of the 5%er, you got the 85%ers. 85% of the population deaf, dumb, and blind to the truth.
And this is part of Darren, like me and Darren talked about this earlier on the audio. My daughter left. She said, we're leaving crumbs to find ourselves. And this video and this type of information is left for people to find themselves. Long after mental gone, this will be out there. People still will be able to understand and get some knowledge, left behind to help those people. So I'll free myself up. We don't have to save nobody. They have to save themselves. Remember, that's what we was always taught. You can't save nobody.
Right. You can't.
Right. Another show came to mind too when you was talking earlier. I'm going to go back and watch the show The Immortals, because that what came to mind is that we're actually immortal.
Just don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
No such thing as death. Even for the white people, no such thing as death. There's a place for anyone that wants to love, that can gather love and light. There's a place for you in the universe. Now, if you refuse to gather love and light, once again, you got to start back over at the beginning. You are a faulty cell. You short-circuited. Whatever it was, we didn't make you right. We ain't going to kill you. We going to start your ass back over.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Which is probably worse.
Well, you got to remember, we're in the infinite and eternal. What is time?
It doesn't
You
exist.
see what I'm saying? If you think like that, you're still thinking in humanity terms. What is time? There is no time.
Facts.
So if it takes 1,000,000 years, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
You got what you needed out of this physical form. And I think that's where they try to use the physical form as a bad thing. Like, oh man, you get down here in the meat suit, nigga, you done for. It's over.
And also this information, I realize it's used to promote the system and to keep the trap, because I can see what these what do you call it? What I want to say? The application has been used when you said 144,000.
Right.
I grew up in the Kingdom Hall with my mother as a Jehovah's Witness.
You know, there's 144,000 lords of light.
But they like this, the only ones going to heaven, and their governing body was all the only ones that's going.
Right.
You know, but see, they use that to maintain power and control, not to free the ones that's in their organization.
And or it makes you think like, oh, it's only us in our organization of 144,000 that's going to be doing anything. You see what I'm saying? Just what you're saying, but you know, using it both. You can use it both ways to try to make you something that you're not. The what is it? The Knights of Tempor, that whole order and all that bullshit. Nobody give a fuck. That ain't nothing but our knowledge.
Yeah, but I think that's part of what you mentioned earlier about the beings that have the control or were in the control and feeding off the energies and utilizing they knew the aspects of the meat suit and being in it and how it could handle it. And so I think when, like, even in the church, you want to say people in the church, you know, is like you're not allowed to think outside of yourself. You got to believe on what the preacher say. You can't take your own understanding and make sense of it. So that's what I'm saying. They use the same thing but flip it, like make it where I have to maintain this control. You don't have any power compared to what I do. You can't do what I do. You know, so that's why I was saying this same system is used, but using a different way to maintain control. But they tell it to us. And what you said, I think, like Panda said, they have to tell you, and you said they have to tell you the truth. They have to give it to you, whether they put it in a movie, put it in a sermon.
That's what makes the movie good, but we don't know it because we too busy watching the goddamn movie instead of seeing the signs that they telling us.
Right. Anyway. Okay. I got it. I'm getting it. The next one I'm gonna study, so I'm gonna be ready for the next chapter. Yeah, I got to get up on some of this, so I'm ready for the next chapter.
Yeah, so we 6 in of the 64.
Okay. Well, the information that I got down, I know it's gonna lead into the next chapter. So
right. You know, it's all just getting to know, remember what you forgot. And the shit is so deep. When I tell people it's so deep, we only getting deeper. We ain't going wherever we came from when we first started in the Millennium, that shit gone. We going even deeper into the rabbit hole, all the way through. I mean, this is giving you science on everything. But saying that, thank you once again, Miss Visa, Mr. Groovology. Give us a parting statement, Mr. Groovology.
Man, great information today. Mind blowing, but at the end of the day, as above, so below.
Facts. Miss Visa.
Based off the information that we learned today, universe is all, the mind is mental. And also, anything you want to know is within your reach. You just gotta know that you know. I said, just know that you know and allow it to come to you. And I got some study to do because I got a message about my bush today. So.
Girl. When it told him, I was feeling a little jealous. I want a bush.
Yeah, I got it.
I want one of them too.
Yeah. And you got to be mindful of how that energy is being used. You said don't abuse
Facts.
it.
Yeah.
That's a test in itself.
I'm gonna tell you this last thing. Everything is a test. In the spiritual realm, you're given power to see if you'll actually use it. Or for what reason you're gonna use it for. Are you using it to help your brother, man? Or are you using it to exploit your brother, man? You're only gonna use it for one of the two things. And it could be, you can use the science to exploit women. Have them think you all here knowing all this stuff just because you can get in their panties. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I do.
It all depends on who you are. What are you doing? I wanted to know the universe at 12 years old. I got a lot more further to go. I'm not there. Enoch got me there, though. It quickened the journey.
Yeah, it's a process that's not going to ever end. It's going to be ongoing.
In fact,
yeah.
And I think that was the whole metaphor of the whole thing.
Yep, you're an infinite being.
Infinite and eternal.
Okay, good show. I enjoyed it.
All right, thank you, everyone. Card Talk. I know for most of y'all, this may have been a lot, maybe over your head, but this is vital stuff. In the coming times that we in now, we need to know real shit. Enough with the Bible, enough with these books that we've read over and over and over and over and over again. Let's get some facts of the soul. All right. As you can see, it didn't talk about one race of people over another that I was talking about. Now, the only thing it says is the connection to the spirit. Certain races were made for certain purposes. So I'm not denying that. But what I will say, all of us can be redeemed. All of us can be saved through salvation, and the salvation comes from within. Nothing out here can save you. I think that's the basic message. Nothing out here can save you from you.
Right.
Because you're going to judge yourself. Don't get it twisted.
And that happens. They say that when near-death experience, and people say they see that story and they
hold up.
And they be in judgment of themselves, and they feel bad. Like, I want to go back. I want to be a better person. I want to,
I want to do this. I want to do that, because you done judged yourself unworthy. Your heart weighed more than a feather. And it all goes into your intention. When you talk to someone, are you intending to get something from them? Are you intending to swilling them? They drop their wallet. Are you intending to pick it up and put it in your pocket? Most of us, we don't do that. Let's be real. Even the ones of us that may not be as spiritual, most of us don't, man. As being black alone, the moral essence of darkness and the morals that come with it, the conscious state that should come with it, unless the melanin turns toxic. We don't even need laws. Remember, the laws, the Bible, the Quran, all that was made for another people because they didn't have it within them. Our books are the books we read now. Science books about us and the universe and how we're all one. That's what we were on. This is what we were on. Right. None of this 2 + 2 = 3 crap. Or 2 + 2 = 4. No, 2 × 2 = 4. Or what the dude wrote down. How can 2 × 1 be 2? That doesn't even satisfy the function of multiplication. Or 2 × 0, I got 2 things. I times it times 0, and now I got no things. How does that work? So just the way they play with the system with us, I'm telling you, they fucking with us, man. I'm telling you. This shit goes deep, girl. They got us believing some bullshit.
Yeah, I believe. But like I said,
never thought of that, huh, Mr. Grooveologist?
It's part of
I got 2 things, and I times it times 0, and I ain't got 2 things still. I got no things. Like the 2 things just disappeared.
But they have to keep you. You gotta stay that battery. You got to be that Duracell. As long as
like in the Matrix. Yeah.
You got it stuck in the Matrix. As long as they got you thinking how they want you to think. Well, put it yet. Seeing what they want you to see. Smelling what they want you to smell. Listening to what they want you to listen. Eating what they want you to eat. Come on. How are you in the world and not of it? You of this whole thing. That's why there's not many of us, because we don't have many people to talk to.
That part.
Some people get lonely and be like, so I'm going back to church. I ain't got no one to talk to about this stuff. You're right, but you do. You got yourself. You got every ancestor in you can talk to. You just didn't know you could. Shit, Miss Visa got a whole bush. She can do anything in her bush.
Yeah, anything.
No, I'm mad about that bush. I want a bush.
Me too.
And I have
the gift of the spirit that we have, but we just don't realize it. Well, you knew. I think Miss Visa knew. I just didn't think you knew to the degree of what you could do.
Oh no, I know.
Right.
Yeah, I know. It's just don't speak on it so much.
Oh, my bad. I'm talking too much. My bad. I got you, my love. My bad. My spirit was real loud with it, though. It was like, make sure you tell her.
No,
okay.
That's fine. You just learn. But, this is for a reason. I got the message. Well, I'm going to call you afterwards.
Tenfold.
Okay, afterwards. All right. So, all right, this is a good show. Thank you.
Yes, we got to go. All right, thank you, Mr. Groovology.
Sure,
Miss Visa, always.
Yeah,
go ahead. Miss Visa, always. Thank you, Mr. Groovology. Mental, you already know how we do. Next week, same time, we going over it. If y'all want this higher spiritual not, we going to keep pouring it. This is just one book. I got plenty of them. We can keep doing this, okay? Until you satisfied. Okay? Right. Until your knowledge has been quenched. Your thirst for knowledge has been quenched. I can give it to you all day long. Love, peace, energy. One.